Heidi here from Rain Country. God is good all the time. And I'm here for my weekly this and that video. And for those of you who are new, this is just a weekly vlog I do, keeping you updated on various experiments I have going on, letting you know of new ones I'm starting. And since these videos are about several different topics, if I have any videos that are more specific, then I will be linking back to them in the description box down below, as well as just sharing with you some of the basic stuff that's going on in our life that may have nothing to do with prepping or being more self-sufficient, but you might just enjoy. So let's get started on the topics of today. So little by little, like most of us at this time of year, we start looking at new things that we want to try in our garden. And I finally bought myself some mullein seeds right here, and I'm excited to finally try it. I've been putting it off for a long time because I just had this assumption that it wouldn't grow well here in our very wet climate. But there's other things I've tried that I didn't think would grow here that would do great, just like the marshmallow. But I'm also about encouraging people to try things even if you don't think it's going to work. And yet still, I took my time on this one. But the more I learn about mullein along the way, even though I haven't done a thorough in-depth study on it yet, which I will eventually, of course, so I can do a video on it, the more I'm thinking this would be a really great addition to our medicinal herb garden. So I went ahead and got some ordered up. Plus, while I'm at it, because I always like saving a little money on shipping, I looked at the same store to see if I could find any more seeds of interest. And I found some lovage seed, which I've also been wanting to try. It's lovage, I believe, that is high in quercetin. Any fruit or vegetable that is high in quercetin, you can combine with turmeric in place of black pepper to increase the bioavailability of the turmeric within the body. So quercetin is great for that, and it's found in many fruits and vegetables, but lovage is one of the things that's most high in quercetin, so I thought I'd give it a try. And by the way, if you're interested in the video I did several years ago about turmeric, do you really need black pepper? And the answer, by the way, is no, but I go into depth with some various things that you can do with turmeric to make it work just as well without having to use black pepper if you don't like black pepper or you're allergic to it. So I'll link to that in the description box. And then the other one I thought just sounded fun. Since I don't even know if I've ever tried eggplant, let alone tried growing it, I found these little small ones. They're the kind you can grow in a pot. So I thought that would be a fun one to try. Plus, she also sent some free seeds for me to try, and these are called the Cherokee Trail of Tears string and or black dried runner bean. So I thought that sounded perfect because I love growing runner beans. So I'll be trying another new bean along with the rattlesnake beans, and I think another one that I purchased that I talked about in another this and that video when I was talking about new seeds. So those are the new seeds I'll be trying for 2022, at least some of them. Now let's talk a little bit about these. I did already shoot a video that will be publishing much later, but Magda was kind enough to send me these so I could try them out. It was her own idea to set me up as an affiliate, so anyone who purchases through the link in our description box can not only get a percentage off their order, it also helps us out a little bit because we earn a little bit of commission off of that. But anyway, I've been purchasing some of her various products, especially the silicone bags, and the only thing I was a little disappointed at is that the biggest bag that she was carrying was not the gallon size bag, and I use gallon size quite a bit. Now I use the other sizes a lot too and love them, but she's going to start carrying these. They are going to be far more expensive. At the time I'm shooting this, she still doesn't actually have these for sale on the store, but she is going to be having them coming out, so you might want to be watching her store if you're interested in the gallon size. One of the reasons she's been putting it off is just like with us and the half-gallon jar chamber is that the expense of investing in the items for us to make the chambers, just investing in the items alone for that size is pretty high, and we didn't want to invest in all this and find that people weren't willing to pay the price of what it costs for the parts plus the labor on top of that and then the shipping. So same thing goes here, because these are not lightweight bags. When you're talking silicone and not just cheap plastic bags, it's going to be heavier, better quality. They're going to be safer for you than plastic as well. So because of the price of the silicone bags, obviously she didn't want to be stocking up on a bunch and then not be able to sell them, because she does have to charge more for them, obviously. But then another thing that I thought was really cool was she now is carrying these silicone bowl covers, and they also come in a rectangular shape. So again, I go over more detail on this in a video that will be coming out later, but I was kind of curious about them because I'm like, how are these going to work? And I found, because they do stretch, that one of these can fit a couple of different sizes and shapes of glasses and bowls. So I did try them out on several different things, and I was really happy with them. And this is another option that you can look at for trying to get away from plastic wrap, because one, you're trying to go with something that's more reusable, and you're just trying to get away from plastic in general because it's not good for you and it's just a throwaway item. And you know, we want to be a little more responsible with our environment as well as our bodies. So this is something that's reusable. You can use again and again, and it's just a quick, easy way you can cover a bowl or even a glass if you need to, and you don't have lids already for those. And you know, I do talk about other things you can do as far as using plates, but those obviously aren't going to be great for everything, especially things that are smaller like this. You might not have a plate that will fit over a bowl or a cup that's that size, so these are perfect for that. So anyway, that link is always in the description box, so you can check it out. It's the Cocoa Stripes is the name of the store. And then a couple other things I wanted to mention. I'm going to be shooting a video hopefully today or within the next couple of days. I have quite a few videos out there about dairy for long-term storage, and I do try to mention vegan options on that, but I thought it would be a good idea for me to shoot a separate video for non-dairy items that you can stock up on if you have to be dairy-free or if you're vegan. And so this is one of the new ones. I do have another coconut milk powder that I tried, so I think it's Anthony's, and this is the Now Foods. It's really tasty. I made a glass of this the other day. But anyway, I just wanted to show this to you. I bought this one through Vitacost, and pretty happy with it. So anyway, if you're interested on more ideas, I'll have some other options that I'm going to be talking about, and then many uses for those things as well in replacing dairy in many different types of recipes. And then along with that, this is actually an old bag I've had for a while. I bought creating a recipe for some gluten-free pasta. And I do have that video out. It's kind of old, but our good friends that I've talked about in that video, the part of the family has to be gluten-free, and so now I'm getting back into working on some gluten-free recipes again. I have a few out there, but now I want to get more serious about coming up with my own flour blend specifically for yeast bread, so I can make pizza crusts and so on. And I also want to look at going gum-free, because I think there can be some issues with your Gower gum, your xanthan gum. I'm not totally sold on those particular things. I know some people use them, and I understand the need for them in your gluten-free breads, but I also know some other healthier options that one can use. So I'm going to be working on some recipes, and hopefully down the road share with you my results and what I've done with them for those of you who do need to be gluten-free. And we'll see how all that goes, because buying pre-blended gluten-free flours may have things in it that you may not really care for, might not be good for your personal health, and they can be more expensive than just creating your own blend that's going to suit you better anyway. So stocking up on things like the potato starch and the super fine white rice flour, brown rice flour, and so on. So anyway, it might be a while before you see videos on that, but eventually those will be coming out. And then I have my stuff out here for making more of my multi-purpose cleaning powder that I have a video out on, and I've been using a lot. I'm happy. I'm so happy with it. And one thing I want to say I really appreciate is the many people that went ahead and tried this recipe for their laundry, for scouring powder, and they have been very thrilled with it, came back into the video and shared their results. I really appreciated that, because you're always going to get a couple of people that without even trying it and just say why you shouldn't do that and blah, blah, blah. And they don't even take time to actually listen to what I said in the video, such as the fact that the recipe is soap free and why that is important. I do want to also share, the reason I'm bringing this up is that I wasn't super clear on the amounts needed in that video recipe for, let's say, doing your laundry and so on. And that is because one of the reasons why is you have to tailor it to either the size of your laundry or how dirty your laundry is. And then for like using in your electric dishwasher, I've only tried it once and I just used about the amount you would normally use of any kind of powdered dishwashing detergent in your washing machine. So whatever your dishwasher requires, that's what you should use. But as far as laundry, again, it just depends. Sometimes I might use as little as a tablespoon. A lot of times I use up to 2 tablespoons because, again, it's the size and how dirty the items are. And sometimes I'll use 3 tablespoons. You may have to just experiment too, because it could also depend on how hard your water is. And here's another thing is you can add Epsom salts. If you have very hard water, add some Epsom salts to that recipe. Don't replace the white salt. Again, it can be any white salt. Years ago, I bought that cheap white stripped out sea salt for $8 for a 50-pound bag, and I bought 2 bags. And so I only use it for cleaning. That's all I use it for. I keep the good, more expensive mineral-rich salts for consuming because we need those minerals. But you can use whatever cheap white salt you want, but don't replace it with Epsom salts. However, you can add some Epsom salts in there to soften up the water as well as softening up the clothes. That can be a good option there. So try that and see if that might work better for you if you have really hard water. And then there's a couple other things I wanted to talk about, which this was kind of interesting, as I've had 2 different people contact me and tell me that they bought the ball jars, and I'll explain why I put that in quotes, in the half gallon. And both of these people, for no apparent reason whatsoever, the bottoms of the jars just broke out. So what I'm suspicious about is that maybe one of these overseas companies that's really good at scamming people by making fraudulent items and then labeling them as an American-made product, if they haven't done that with the Ball jars. Or it could be that Ball is making the half-gallon jars much cheaper now, which all the more reason why you shouldn't be trying to can those. But just putting dehydrated herbs in those should not be busting out the bottom of the jar. That's really a shame. So I say that if you're buying brand new Ball jars, just be careful of what you're buying. I haven't had to buy brand new Ball half-gallon jars in years. Most of the ones I have now are actually ones I found at garage sales or that were just given to us. So I have quite a few, thankfully, because of that. And then all the ones I bought were older and they've all been great jars. So watch out for that. And the same applies to any of those lids, those cheap canning lids. I wouldn't buy them. I would stay clear of them. If you have to settle for jars for storage, at least for storing dried goods, I wouldn't even recommend it using those lids for vacuum sealing, because I ended up with some only because I needed some little 1/4 pint jars and I wasn't going to can with them. I'm using them for freezing and other things, but I'm not using the lids. I did try using the lids for vacuum sealing. They don't even vacuum seal very good, which that's pretty bad that they can't even vacuum seal very good. They don't hold a seal. So I just say, unless you know for certain it is Ball or Kerr, or there are a couple other brands I always forget, like Golden Harvest, unless you know for certain they are one of these US made, or whatever your own country is, whatever brand they sell, unless you know for certain it's that, I wouldn't buy it. If it looks cheap, it looks suspicious, if it's a name you've never heard of, don't buy them, because I wouldn't use them for canning, vacuum sealing, or anything like that. I've heard quite a few horror stories about that. Another thing that I was going to say about the chamber. So last week I was talking about the half-gallon chamber. By the time the video published, there was only 1 half-gallon chamber left on the store, and right after it published, somebody came in and bought it. And we will have more coming out. It's a separate listing from our other chambers that we have on there, from the ones that hold up to a quart-sized jar. It's a totally separate listing because of the cost of shipping. And I was going to put it in the same listing, but it just wasn't going to work that way because it costs a lot more to ship those. And so I couldn't tailor the shipping to fit that. But we will have more up. It just might be up to 2 weeks because it's going to take a while. It takes a while to get the tops in that we ordered. We're going to have plenty of pipe and caps and the other parts that we need to get them made up, and Patrick plans on having the chambers made up and ready to go to put on the store while we wait for those lids to come in. And we do all of this stuff we order from our local privately owned grocery stores owned by local people, and we do all that business, ordering all that stuff through that store. So we're keeping that business local. Well, except for the 6-inch pipe. I forgot about that. The 6-inch pipe they haven't been able to get at our local store, but we've still been able to buy it somewhat locally by going to another privately owned business that's in the next town over and then getting those from there. Unfortunately, we do have to drive in and get those. But anyway, we've done what we can to try to keep the cost down on the parts in that way while still sticking with our original design, which we really prefer over some other designs that we've seen people do. I realize certain other designs can be cheaper and might work just as well, but we really like the setup that we have, and we know that a lot of people, we've sold quite a few of them, and a lot of people have been very happy with the design. But anyway, I'll link down below to the video on how to use the chamber, what it's all about, because people on that last video, my last this and that, were, what is it? I don't get what it's good for. Well, go watch the video. I also linked it in that description box as well, so people can learn about what it's for, why we made it, and how to properly use it. All right, well, I hope you enjoyed this video, and be checking out in the description box down below for anything that I mentioned. And don't forget to click on show more, which is right down here below my channel name, or if you are on a smart device, right over here, that little gray triangle or arrow that you'll see. Just touch that, open up the description box to find all our links and so on that we put in there. And thanks for watching. Take care and God bless.